Hey everybody, Jordan here. Just going over our new system we have for fire reporting. Every time you log into Image Trend, you've probably seen this message up front talking about NERIS and how on January 1 we're going to switch over with our fire reporting. NERIS is just a different way that we send our reports. We've been using the NFIR system. The NFIR system is something we use to kind of download our reports. We send them to the state. The state then sends them to the feds. But our NERIS, that's basically a new way of sending our reports. It should be a pretty easy transition for you guys. When you go in, starting January 1, you'll be able to look under the Incidents tab. And whereas before we've always gone and we've used our NFIRS CAD system, now you've probably seen over here there's a new NERIS CAD system. This will probably be removed in January, leaving only this one here. And it's going to be very similar to what we did with all of our NFIRS reports. You can open up a report here and it'll CAD the whole call for you. So I'll take an incident here just to kind of walk you guys through. Just to kind of have an understanding. It should be very simple because many of the fields are the exact same as they were under the NFIRS stuff, but this will kind of have a few new systems to it that I'll just walk through to make sure we understand how to go through it. So we'll open it up just the same as before with the CAD, and most of the CAD information is going to come straight across for us as it did before. It'll give us our incident numbers, it'll give us our dispatch code as it was from dispatch. Our timestamps will all come through. The locations and our addresses will still be there. Things start to get a little bit weird with our first spot, which is our unit response. With NERIS, you guys probably before, every time you create an incident report, over here down here in the corner, they had an apparatus section that was always red every time we had help from other people or every time we went and helped other agencies. And we'd have to go in there and we'd have to delete all the units because with both NERIS and NFIRS, they don't really care who we go with. They just care to know that we were with other units. So when you first open up this dispatch tab, it's yellow, kind of encouraging you to go through and essentially just delete all the outside units. So when you do this, there's two ways to kind of know that it's either us or them. First off, I've flagged all of the outside units. And so if you see a flagged unit, it's probably not us. So go ahead and just delete it. You just click on the X next to it. All of our units have a NERIS ID. So you can kind of see here, we've got that big long number that the government assigns each one of our apparatus. And I don't have the NERIS IDs for the outside units. There would be so many IDs. And since they don't really care at this point, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to delete them all. So everything that's flagged is going to be a UFA, a South Salt Lake, a Sandy unit. It's essentially not going to be us. So first thing I want you to do is go through and delete those. Our incident tab over here is where the bulk of everything is. First off, our location is going to come straight across usually. Our incident details is as it was before. There's a little bit different categories with our primary incident type, and you can find that through one of two ways. One, you can open up this sidebar tab and you can start to go through and say like, all right, we went on a fire and it was a structure fire or it was a transportation fire, and go ahead and select your incident there. And it'll auto-populate some of the other categories we have to fill out. And everything else is the same. Which station, our emergencies. When it comes to our actions, we can either go no action, which is our canceled runs, or we can put action in there, and maybe we were on a structure fire and maybe we actually fought fire, so it's going to be a suppression of an interior fire. We could do a whole host of things. We could do that we searched, we initiated a body recovery. It could be all sorts of stuff. You can put as many of these things in here as long as you at least have one in there is what we need. Our property use is just where we're indicating things as we've done before with our incident place type, our location type, and as with everything, I would go on the sidebar until we get used to it and go ahead and just locate what it is. Once you start to get good at it, you can start to put, that we were on a street, and it'll auto-populate. It'll bring stuff up for you. Our location, use, was it a school or whatever it is. These are just weird, odd categories that the government wants to know what we were involved with. Our persons and entity involved is just before. The only thing different with this one is they want to know if we displace people on fires or if we have incidents where people end up without a place to stay that night. So let's say we go on a structure fire and we displace 3 people. They're going to want to know why. It's probably going to be smoke or fire. We could have another incident where maybe it's water or utilities are out, whatever it is. Why did we displace people and how many people were actually displaced? This is our business or our property owner's name, and if we want to throw a phone number in there, that's good too. With our aid given and received, this is going to be a little bit different and kind of important. It flags yellow on every fire incident because about 50% of our incidents we either give aid or we receive aid. And in order to do this, just go in here and select which one. Did we go into UFA's area? Did we give UFA automatic aid? And when that happens, it's going to create a red spot for us. And we just have to go through and fill out each one of these. Now, this one is a little bit confusing. It asks, is our mutual aid in support of primary entity? Is it in lieu of primary entity? Or are we acting as another entity? You just kind of have to read through each one of these. If we're in support of a primary entity, that means we went into UFA's area with UFA. So that means we're supporting UFA as they're on scene as well. This is our first alarm fires. Maybe you get called out on an extrication with UFA in their area. Essentially, you have to remember that if we're supporting a primary entity, that means they're also on scene with us. That's opposed to the next one over here. If we're in lieu of primary entity, that means we're going into someone else's area without them. So let's say 81 goes into Taylorsville, and Taylorsville is on another call, completely separate. We're going into their area without them to provide support for them. And then the final one over here is automatic aid and acting as another entity. The only time we're going to act as another entity is if we get like moved up into an area. Let's say Salt Lake City calls us up and we're helping Salt Lake City because they've got a massive incident and we're in one of their stations. We're acting as their entity. And so just try to read through each one and see which one. If we're on a first alarm fire with UFA in Taylorsville, we're there supporting them. So we're going to put UFA in support. Now let's change it around a little bit. Let's say we received aid, and if we receive aid, we don't do reports when UFA comes into our areas to take medical calls because we're out. We also don't do reports when people move up. So the only time we receive aid is on an incident where we're also there. So let's say that UFA comes into our area to help us on a first alarm fire. We're going to put UFA came into our area, but we also have to remember that if we have like a first alarm fire, let's say we have more than just UFA, you have to create a separate entry for each entity that comes into our area. So I'd like it if we just have a drop down of all the ones that come in, but they want a separate entry for each one. So let's say UFA came into our area as well as Sandy came into our area to help us out. And we also had South Salt Lake that came into our area to help us out. You just have to do an entry for each one. And then there's also our non-fire department aid. Let's say we ask for the assistance of PD. Maybe we bring out Red Cross to help out on a fire. Maybe we have a dead animal. We call animal services. Murray City Utility comes out to help out. These are just kind of the different things that we're looking to track who's helping us on our incidents. As we keep going, our authorization, let's say I'm making the report, but for many of you guys, I know you have help from some of your guys who help you with the fire report. So let's say that maybe I'm the one making the report up here, but let's say the officer in charge of an incident was Steve Olson. So Chief Olson comes on scene. He's actually the IC of this incident. I'm going to put him down as the guy. Our narratives are just the same. You've got a narrative box here. We also have a supplemental narrative just in case you have an incident within an incident, or maybe you want to separate our, maybe you do a quick officer fire investigation. You could also separate the two if you wanted a separate narrative, but they're not, only the one narrative is required. We've got a couple other things that pop up. So since I'm in a structure fire, it opens up this structure fire module here. I just have to walk through the simple structure fire ones. It also brings up what we've had before where it asks for the smoke alarms, the fire alarms. Obviously the difference is a smoke alarm is simply just a smoke alarm. A fire alarm is where you actually have a fire alarm system, and it'll walk you through each one. If you put present, it's going to have a couple more questions on each one. So it gets a little bit bigger with each one, but simple questions. Going back up, so we went through all of our incident ones. The apparatus personnel, for whatever reason, it asks twice who was on scene. And I'm trying to figure a way around that. Since we've already deleted our units in our dispatch, we deleted everybody but the Murray units. Within the apparatus module, it's got it twice, so we're going to delete them twice. This one's a little bit easier. Like I told you before, Murray units all have a NERIS ID, but in this module, at least gives us the call signs too. So we don't need BC11 to be in our report. We also don't need Medic Engine 101, 126, or even 110. So that just leaves us with our units here. This is where we have to go through and actually fill out what our units encompassed. So our response modes are likely emergency. This here is where we document our personnel. So since this is BC81, there's only one person on BC81. I have to add myself into this one. So if I'm on BC81 that day, I'm going to put myself on there. This number has to be matching with the amount of people you put on the rig. So this one's simple. Let's go into Engine 82. Engine 82, let's say we have 3 people on that day. I have to make sure I add 3 people in order to clear this warning out. So let's say that we've got Colby as the officer that day. I'm going to push OK. Let's say we also have Brandon Bates that day. And I want you to kind of notice that it's going to remain red until we get the 3rd person on there. So let's say Pride is there that day. Until we get the 3 people on there that matches with our 3 people unit count, it's going to remain red. If I was to switch this over to 4, it's going to switch back over to red. I have to add 1 more person. The same thing goes if I mistakenly put 2 people and I actually have 3, it's going to remain red. So make sure these 2 match up. And after you do that, we're okay. Medic Ambulance 82, there's going to be probably 2 people on there. We'll put Adrian, and we'll put Jarek, and it's going to match those 2 up, so we should be good. And unfortunately, this is kind of tough. If we have a big incident, there's going to be a couple units. Right now, for whatever reason, our scheduler, it won't talk to NERIS. So whereas before, you know, we could put all of our names in at the beginning of shift, and every time we put Engine 82, all those names would auto-populate. For right now, nobody in the valley seemed to be able to get that scheduler to talk to NERIS yet, so I'm still working on that. Until then, I'm sorry, we kind of have to input each one of those names. But every incident's kind of different. If we were to change our incident details to just an alarm, it'll kind of change some of the required things we have to put in. Maybe it's a CO alarm, and it's gonna take away our fire module that we had to do, just the same as the other report. So for the most part, everything's very, very similar. Let's say that we also have a canceled. You can type in canceled, or you can open up our bar over here and go to no emergency, and in there's going to be a false alarm, and we can cancel ourselves. We can also go and type it in here. So I don't know how many of you used the old codes in NFIRS. I don't know how many of you would type in like 735, because 735 was an unintentional alarm, or a 745, or even like a structure fire, which was like a 110. But now we've just got this drop down bar that we can go through, or you can try to just type in the incident itself, and it'll start to bring stuff up for you. But with most of it, we should be able to get around 100% validation. So depending on the incident, you should be able to get close to 100. Some of them, there's still a few errors that I haven't been able to actually find. So once you've kind of gone through and you feel like everything's gone blue, you've got your narratives, you've documented it just as before. How we're going to go through this now is you can either put it requires supervisor review or we're ready for admin review, depending on how you guys do it. I know with some of the crews on Sea Platoon, a crew member might create the report and then the captain will review it before shift. So they'll do supervisor review. But either way, what happens with the NERIS system is once things are clicked fire call complete, it's going to send straight to the government. It's going to send straight into the federal database. And so don't click fire call completed. What we're going to do is I'm going to start to look at all the reports coming up here until I'm pretty confident that they're exactly where we want them. So as an officer or whoever's doing your fire reports, just make sure they're either supervisor review or they're admin review, and then I'll be the only one that clicks fire call complete, and then we'll send them off. But The NERIS system, I think we're pretty close to it here. We still have to go live on January 1, and once we go live, we'll kind of see what problems there are and what kind of holes we still have in this. So it might change a little bit. You might see some more red flags pop up on some other parts of the report, but for the most part, it should be very similar to the same. If we get any big drastic changes, I'll reach out to you guys and let you know, but for the most part, it should be simple for you. If you have any trouble, come to me first. Either shoot me a text, give me a call, or hit me up when I'm on shift. Let me know which incident you tried to fill out, what problems you had with it, and we'll work through it. But I'm hoping it's a smooth transition for you. Once again, it's just the same as it was with our other reporting, same information. Make sure we're getting good information on where we went, what businesses were there. If we can get contact names and information, then that's going to be perfect. And other than that, please hit me up with any questions. Appreciate you watching this, and thank you for what you do.